we in a superposition yet? Let's talk about Dark Matter Season 1, Episode 3. Hey everyone, it's David Stark from Watch Your Past, and I'm here to talk to you about Dark Matter Season 1, Episode 3, The Box, which is coming to Apple TV Plus on May 15th, 2024. It is the third episode in this season of Dark Matter, and it continues right after the explosive ending of the last one. Is this worth your time? Is this worth watching? My hot take is, yeah, I think you should watch it. It's another strong episode in this series that explores the two worlds that are kind of coexisting at this time and gives you some more background on all the characters. I really enjoyed it. I've enjoyed this series so far, and this was no exception. So I'm going to tell you a little about the episode, a few things I like, a few things I didn't like, and then really quickly go into a recap. So as you can imagine, there will be spoilers in the recap portion. If you don't want to know what happened in this episode, and you might not, there are some pretty big surprises that happen. I would turn it off when I get there. Before that, though, I'll keep it vague. I'll keep it spoiler-free. Let you know I get to the spoilers. So, like I said, Dark Matter Season 1, Episode 3 continues right after the explosive ending of the last episode. You remember the last episode ended when Daniella in the, I'll call it science world, science Jason's world, Daniella was shot by this henchman employed by Velocity Dawn when she went to try to get Jason back. That obviously upset Jason. We found out at the start of this episode that Jason was taken captive. He was taken back to Velocity, and they are trying to interrogate him for some reason. Is he going to cooperate? And what is happening over in Family Jason's world? Well, you have to watch the episode to find out. So, things I liked about this episode. The first, I'll call it the cracks. Remember, you've got, I guess, Jason from the science world now in Family world, and you got Family Jason over in science world. And because of that, those Jasons are not going to have the same memories, not going to have the same experiences. And you see some of those kind of cracks forming. You see how they don't remember certain things that happened in the life that they were supposed to have, how they try to get around it. And it's more so on the science Jason and Family world side, but it is fun to see how characters start to recognize maybe something else is going on here. The second thing I'll call it the cat and mouse. This involves an investigation and the kind of like questions that the investigation asks and kind of the way that they uncover things. It's fun to see the various entities who are trying to perform this investigation, some of the questions they ask and the dual meanings that they can have. And the last thing I like the storytelling. It gives you some additional info on, the background for some of the characters, especially like what happened in Science Jason's world and whatnot. And so I like that. I like how they're fleshing it out slowly and you don't get like a ton of information at the start of the series. It seems like it's going to be slowly drip fed to you as the series progresses. So all that being said, things I didn't love as much, there really wasn't much. I have in my notes that there was some manufactured drama, but I can't really for the life of me remember. Maybe they'll remember it while I am going through the recap. So all that being said, there really wasn't anything I didn't like about this episode. So make sure to check out Dark Matter Season 1, Episode 3, The Box, which is coming to Apple TV Plus on May 15th, 2024. And if you check it out, let me know what you thought. Let me know what you liked and didn't like. I would love to hear it. And all that being said, I'm going to go into a recap right now. So if you don't know what happened in this episode, I would turn it off now because there will be spoilers. So in Dark Matter Season 1, Episode 3, you have essentially the two Jason worlds kind of progressing on a parallel track, although different things happen. I'm just going to do, I think, Science Jason and Family World first, and then I'll do Family Jason and Science World just to, make it more linear of a story. But just remember that while this is happening, they're kind of both progressing at the same time. So in Science Jason and Family World, you have Jason trying to like impress Danielle and trying to like change his life. He does some things here that are very uncharacteristic of Jason. He's like giving Danielle a lot of attention. He seems to be very interested in her. Like I said in the earlier reviews, he seems very hungry for her. He is like going out on like nice dates and like buying nice bottles of wine. For Charlie, he gets him like a skateboard and is like, hey, pick out whatever you want, which is very apparently unlike Jason, probably because in this world, Jason doesn't make a ton of money. He probably has to watch his expenses, whereas in, Science Jason's world, he is like very rich and can just do whatever he wants. So we'll see if that comes back to bite him. Now, this doesn't go unnoticed. Daniela actually asks him, like, you seem to be different. Like, it's great, but like, is everything okay? You tell me if something was going on, right? And Jason basically describes it as like that night when he and Ryan were at the bar on his way back, he almost got hit by a car, and that caused his like life to flash before his eyes, and it caused him to realize like what was really important. So this seems to be enough of an explanation, but I did like that Daniela like saw that something was different and like asked him. I feel like those cracks will probably form later, and I'm sure something will happen that will cause her to think something is wrong later, but right now she seems happy. So the big conundrum in Science Jason's world, which again shows how like charmed Family Jason's life was, is they have a dinner party that they have to plan. And so Science Jason is worried because they're going to be friends there that they've known for years, and he has to really quickly brush up on their friendship. And how does he do this? Well, he uses like social media. He looks up these friends that are coming, looks at their profiles, and then during the dinner, he like asks them questions about things on their profiles, like, oh, how was I forget whether like Tibet or wherever they went to Tahiti. Your son must be getting ready for college. Where is he going again? Like things like that. It is pretty clever. He is awkward, but Jason is also just a little bit awkward, so maybe everyone brushes it off, but he is holding his own. Now, one thing that was interesting is that during this dinner, Daniella's having a conversation and she asks Jason about the name of this hotel they stayed at a while ago on a trip. And Jason thinks about it for a second. You're like, oh, this is going to be it. He's not going to be able to remember. And then he sees an image in his head of the name of the hotel on like a phone, and he says it. And I wasn't certain if that was him reviewing, Jason's life before to get more information from his phone, or if that is, some way that he and family Jason in the other world are linked, and maybe some of family Jason's memories are coming to him. I'm not sure. I think it was probably the former. I think he probably just did his homework and like looked through the phone to see all the pictures, but that was a very specific picture that he saw, so I am not certain. Now, after the dinner party, this was the big revelation in Science Jason's world, in Science Jason's timeline. After the dinner party, Jason is watching home videos, to get more background on the family, to kind of like be able to really reference things. And while he's doing that, he's going through family Jason's desk, and he pulls open a box that has important documents, and he looks in, and inside are two birth certificates for two live births. One is for Charlie, the son that they have. The other is for this person named Maximilian Dessen, who we haven't heard about and you haven't seen. So it seems like there was another child that, you know, I assume died young. I mean, you don't know. You just see the birth certificate and that's it. That's all you get. So I assume that will be something that happens next episode. We learn more about Maximilian. But for now, you just know that it seems like Jason and Daniela had a second child at some point. So that is Science Jason and Family World. Now going to Family Jason and Science World, who has a decidedly less fun experience. So he, as you remember, the last thing that happened to him was Daniela got killed in front of him, which is not good for him. And so he wakes up in like an interrogation chamber. They're trying to get information out of him. They're trying to figure out like, who he is and what happened to their Jason. We find out that Ryan received a call from Leighton, and Ryan told Leighton what Jason had said. Didn't mean it like spitefully. I think he was just worried about his friend and wanted to like let him know. But this causes Leighton, the CEO of Velocity, to really kind of hone in on what's happening. And so they are beating Jason to try to get this information. And I was a little confused by this. Like they bring in Dawn, the crazy one, and she just beats the heck out of him. And like, look, I don't think you're going to be able to beat this out of him if he doesn't know. But this is a Jason. You have all of his notes. You should just use him to figure out more of the box. Like, I don't know why you're beating him when you could just give him a better situation and be like, hey, fix the box so we can get the right Jason back. Let's go. It feels like something that would be easy for them to do, but no, they want to beat it out of him. They want to force the issue. And so I guess that's what happens. Now we do figure out a little bit more about this project itself. So apparently this project is a box. It's a Schrodinger's cat box essentially that allows you to put a human into superposition. And one of the things you have to be worried about in a quantum-based experiment is, I guess, someone observing the subject and having the system collapse, or in this case they call it decohere, I think is what they call it. And so how do they do that? How do they make sure that no one from the outside can see the person being put into superposition? Well, they have this box, which helps, and then they put around the box this like alloy material, and then inside there are some like shielding, some like dampers essentially that prevent not just sound but any sort of other signal from leaving the box. So it's this like advanced thing that is essentially like completely shuts the person in the box out from the outside world, and that is to make sure that the person like doesn't get observed, doesn't decohere in this world, and thus be pulled out of superposition. So I was a little confused because, like, look, if you put someone in superposition, that's weird already. But if you put someone in superposition, how do they stay in superposition when you like open the box? Because what happened? You see the footage of what happened when Jason went into superposition. He went into the box, closed the door. Amanda came in, like a minute later, opened it and he was already gone. You would think that once they opened the box, he would come out of superposition. But I guess in this world, when they open the box, he is both in this world and then somewhere else, right? He's in a superposition of that. And so when they open the box, they observe the system and he is now not in this world. He is in the other world. That's how Jason went to the other world. While he was in superposition, he was in both. And then when they open the box, I guess he goes to the other world. That is my understanding of it. So, and we also find out why Science Jason might have gone into this world. So we find out that Amanda is a psychologist. She is the one that was training the various box jumpers, and they had 4 people do it. They had a first experimenter, then they had Jason, then they called for volunteers, and a couple other people from the company did. And a couple other people from the company decided to do it. So 4 people have been missing. Jason's the only one that came back. Now Amanda was training these box jumpers, these box pilots, to get, I guess, to help them to cope with being in superposition. Now the morning that Jason left, she could tell that something was bothering Jason. The night before, Jason had seen an ex, presumably Daniella. You don't know, but presumably it was Daniella. And Amanda could tell that something was bothering Jason. And when Amanda got out of the shower, Jason was gone. And then, as we know, he went to the box, went to superposition, seems to have gone into Family Jason's world. Probably wanted to go to a world where he and Daniella were together. I assume he saw Daniella and kind of missed her, missed that life. That's my guess. You don't know for sure, but I think that's probably what happened. So after this, Leighton comes in and reveals that they know that this is not the real Jason, that Ryan called him. Again, remember, I don't think Ryan did it in spite. Ryan is very nice in this world. He's actually very nice in both worlds. He's super nice in this world too. And so he talked to Leighton. I assume he was worried about his friend. They now know that this is not their Jason and they're trying to beat it out of him. And again, it's really weird that like they would try to beat it out of him. It feels like they should just use this Jason who understands the concepts. He just hasn't like done the experiments, but I'm sure he could figure it out and then use him to fix the box or use the box to get their Jason back. They don't want to do that. They want to beat him up. And they come up with like an altruistic reason. I don't know if this is a real reason or if this is just one that they're trying to use to like guilt Jason into telling them. But Leighton is like, what if there's a world out there where cancer has been cured and we could go into a superposition and learn that information and bring it back here and then there would be no cancer? I mean, sure, I guess. I guess I don't know how exact you can get in your superposition world, but that is, I guess, an option. So after this, Jason gets thrown into a room and Ryan's there. And Ryan, apologizes profusely for telling them about him. And I liked this scene because remember, this is family Jason. This is the nice Jason. And I assume Science Jason would have like treated Ryan like crap. He would have like yelled at him. That tends to be who he is. Or that tends to feel like what he would do. Family Jason is like, look, like it's not your fault. Like you didn't know. It's my fault. Like he completely just like forgives Ryan for doing that. He doesn't even like want to give him blame, which I liked. I liked that scene a lot. But then we find out like what Ryan did. Remember before Ryan mentioned that he made a compound for Velocity and that he had signed so many NDAs he couldn't talk about it, but he just wanted to know if it worked. And Family Jason didn't know. He didn't know if it worked, so he kind of blew him off. Well, turns out that Ryan made a like serum that would turn off parts of your brain. Because one of the things they were concerned about is if you are in a superposition, they're worried that I think your observation would collapse the system, or in this case, they call it decohere the system. And so he had to make a drug that would shut that off so you could, I guess, get into superposition. Which is weird because if the experiment is Schrodinger's cat and the cat is in there and it's in a superposition, then wouldn't the cat be able to observe it? Maybe it's not the same type of cognition. Maybe that is, the difference between the experiment and the reality, like the reality, the real life version. Who knows? But you needed this drug to turn off parts of your brain so that you could get into a superposition. And so Ryan helped create that. And so now we know a little bit more about how this experiment works. So after he tells him this, after Ryan lets him know, the thugs come and take Ryan. It seems like they're going to interrogate him. Now, a little bit later, Amanda comes in and lets Jason out. First thing Jason asks about is about Ryan. And Amanda basically says, like, I'm sorry, we have to go. So it sounds like not only have they killed Daniella, now they've killed Ryan. They're killing a lot of people that Jason seems like, I don't know how they're going to get him to work for them if they're killing all of his friends. We'll see. Amanda seems to want to help Jason get out of there. So she helps him escape. She wants to like, I guess, make amends for the things that they've done. She says, like, I'm not sure if I can come back from what I've done, but at least I'll try. And so by letting Jason go, she is trying. Now they try to get out. They try to get out of the building, but as they're getting out of the elevator, they get spotted by Leighton, and so they have to go down back into the building, go to the basement, and they head towards the box. Now Amanda tries to get into the room with the box. Her access is revoked, but Jason tries, because he is still a Jason, and I assume his biometrics are very similar, and he is able to get in the box. His voice works, and he knows the code, probably because he's Jason, he knows what kind of code he would have. And so they get in there, they get into the room, and they start the box up. And as they're doing this, they're being pursued. Dawn and Leighton come. They have to get into the box to escape them. They close the door. Dawn is trying to, stop them, but they're able to pull the door and close it on Dawn's fingers. Some of Dawn's fingers get cut off. So yay, there is a little bit of justice. Dawn kind of sucks, and she lost some fingers. Now, they're both in the box. What are they going to do? Well, they're going to try to turn it on. Somehow they know how to turn it on. I don't know how, but I guess maybe Amanda knows how to turn it on because she was, helping with the experiments. She has the serum. She injects them both with the serum. They have part of their frontal, they have part of their brain turned off. The box activates. I assume they don't observe each other because the next thing you know, everything goes black. And then you hear a phone timer go off. An iPhone, of course, because it's an Apple TV show. You hear an iPhone timer go off. If you have an iPhone, you know what that timer is. It'll instantly jog either happy or annoying memories in your head. And Jason and Amanda both get up. And I was surprised here because look, like if they're in a superposition, you would think the fact that they are both up and coherent would decohere the system. I guess you just need them to be not observant when they get into a superposition. I assume that's how this works. So now they are in a superposition and they wake up. They are in this strange place. It's like a dark hallway, and they look down and both like are shocked because the camera pulls out and you see a ton of doors. It's a hallway full of doors, and I assume each of those doors is a door into a superposition. But it is weird that they are both there. You would think they would each have to be in their own superposition hallway because it is their choices that are making these infinite worlds, not combined choices. So it's weird that they would, I don't know if they can even enter the same world. I guess they could, but you would think that world would be based on one person's choice, not the others. But it pulls back. You see all these worlds, and that is what happens. You see all these doors to potential possibilities, and that is where this episode ends. So that is Dark Matter, Season 1, Episode 3. What is going to happen next? Well, I assume on the Science Jason and Family World, something is going to happen. I think, Science Jason's going to mess up. He's probably going to say something hurtful to someone, or he's spending a lot of money. Maybe their finances are going to get in trouble and something's going to be up, or Danielle's going to observe something about him that seems way too off. And that's going to maybe insert a little like crack in there, I think. Now, over on this side, I don't know. I guess they're going to try to find this world to get Jason back. They have a lot of possibilities. I think it might take a while, but I think they're probably going to try. I guess we'll see how they navigate that next week. But that is Dark Matter Season 1, Episode 3, The Box. Like I said, I definitely think you should watch it. I like this series a lot, and this is another really good episode. So if you do check it out, let me know what you thought. Let me know what you liked and didn't like. I would love to hear it. And thanks so much for watching. If you like this review, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. Thank you.